Okay, so good day, everyone. Today, we will be exploring two fascinating worlds that are the desert ecosystems and aquatic ecosystem. Although I think we won't be able to cover all the aquatic ecosystem. We will step on the lake ecosystem. So anyway, let's start with the desert ecosystem. When we hear desert, we often imagine vast sand dunes and scorching heat. But deserts are much more diverse. So a desert is any region that receives less than 25 centimeters of rainfall per year. So despite the harsh conditions, deserts are home to uniquely adapted plants and animals. Now, there are types of desert ecosystem. These are the tropical deserts, temperate deserts, and cold um, deserts. So let's go to the features of different types of deserts. So let's start with the tropical desert. And these deserts example includes the Sahara in Africa and then the Arabian desert. These deserts are characterized by high temperatures year round, intense sunlight, and minimal rainfall. So vegetation is sparse, mostly cacti, shrubs, and succulents. And animals like camels, lizards, and scorpions have special adaptations to conserve water. The other one is what we call the temperate deserts. So these are such the Mojave Desert in the US. Here, the temperatures vary widely between summer and winter, and these deserts have more seasonal rainfall compared to tropical ones. So you will find sagebrush, yucca, and small rodents like kangaroo rats and burrow underground to escape the heat. Now we also have what we call cold deserts. So lastly, we have the cold deserts such as the Gobi Desert in Mongolia or Patagonia Desert in South America. So these regions experience cold winters with occasional snow and warm summers. Vegetation includes grasses and shrubs, and animals like antelope and snow leopards adapt to the temperature extremes. For the characteristics of this kind of ecosystem, what makes them unique? First, it has low rainfall. Second, extreme temperature variations, so hot days and then cold nights. Sandy or rocky soils with poor nutrients, and then sparse vegetation and low biodiversity. So these factors create one of the most challenging habitats on Earth, but also one of the most efficient in resource use. For the structure and function of biotic and abiotic components, in every ecosystem, we have two main components, of course, the living and then the non-living things. So in the desert, abiotic factors regulate water availability and temperature. Meanwhile, biotic components have evolved survival mechanisms like water storage in succulents and nocturnal activity in animals and deep roots in plants to access underground water. So this is a very good example of food web in the desert ecosystem to visualize it. Producers include cacti and shrubs. Primary consumers could be insects and rodents, feed on them. And then the secondary consumers, like snakes and lizards, eat the herbivores. And finally, hawks, foxes, um, act as the top predators. So, of course, Along with these, we have decomposers such as fungi and bacteria, and they break down dead material, returning nutrients to the soil. So it's a delicate balance of energy flow and nutrient cycling, even in such a dry in environment. So that is the desert ecosystem. Now let's move from the dry lands to the watery realms, the aquatic ecosystem. So these cover nearly three-fourths of Earth's surface and are divided into freshwater and saltwater ecosystem. So, of course, there are types of aquatic life zone. First is what we call the freshwater life zones, which are the ponds, streams, lakes, and river. But today we will only be covering ponds up to lakes. The other type of aquatic life zone is the saltwater life zones that includes the oceans and estuaries. Okay, so freshwater ecosystem. So these characterized by low salt concentration and support species like fish, amphibians, aquatic plants, and insects. So the water movement, the light penetration, and oxygen content vary from one zone to another. Uh, yeah. Okay. Let's go to the importance of pond ecosystem. So a pond ecosystem may seem small, but it's a complete miniature ecosystem. So it supports plants, plankton, fish, amphibians, and microorganisms. So ponds help in nutrient cycle, water purification, and serves as habitats, of course, for biodiversity. Moving to lakes, these are larger standing bodies of freshwater formed naturally or artificially. So they consist of various zones and are influenced by light, temperature, and nutrient levels. Now we have types of lake. The oligotrophic lake, the eutrophic lake, dystrophic lake, and then the volcanic lake. So, oligotrophic lake has a low nutrient content and high oxygen levels. So, the water is clear and deep, supporting species like trout. So, these lakes are typically found in mountainous regions. The other kind of lake is what we call a eutrophic lake, which is a contrast of the oligotrophic lake. This kind of lake is rich in nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus. So this supports abundant plant and algae growth, but may lead to oxygen depletion at lower depths, affecting fish life. Third is the dystrophic lake. It has acidic and brown colored water due to decaying organic matter. They are often surrounded by peat bogs and have low productivity because of poor light penetration and the low oxygen. And lastly is what we call the volcanic lake. Volcanic lakes form in craters of extinct volcanoes, and they often have unique chemical compositions and are used to scientific research due to their geological origins. Examples include Taal Lake in here in the Philippines. Um, we have the zones of a lake that includes different zone of the lakes, but we will be ending here first. On our next lecture, we will be starting with the zones of lake. Okay, thank you very much and see you again.